Thanks all for coming, for being troopers at the end of this Drupal camp. My name is Jim Birch. I work at Zeno Media in the lovely suburbs of Chicago. We're a small web development firm, does mainly Drupal. I have created this slide deck, and you can follow along at this URL right here. Can everybody see it okay that needs to? All right. My crazy domain hack. You can follow me at the Jim Birch. And let's talk about holistic SEO, or everything you know about SEO is wrong. And I don't mean to offend you with that, just everything's changing quickly. So I guess for those of you that weren't here, this is Lego Uncle Jim. He was given to me by my awesome nephew Ben, and he likes to travel the world and learn about Drupal. Holistic SEO, it's a term that's used to describe best practices development in which content marketing, technical practices, performance, security, user experience, and user intent is where it all comes together to make a perfect URL. And that perfect URL, what used to be about keywords, is now becoming more and more about topic. Sometimes I go into the office. Why are we taking a holistic approach to SEO? Search engine algorithms, or Google and Facebook basically, their algorithms are getting more and more complex every day, and they're becoming intelligent. Like, this is the rise of artificial intelligence. They're using machine learning to find out what we want. These are going to be harder and harder to predict as they get smarter and smarter. So people have been able to analyze search engine ranking factors before and manipulate the system. This is going to be kind of a hard endeavor as we get further and further down the road. And then the other thing is that it defines the best practices that we as web developers and content creators should follow to ultimately benefit the user. So like I said, today's Google algorithm puts value on topic and user intent more than keywords. Once upon a time, we could make a web page on the internet, and it would have some words on it, and we could get them to rank in Google. And I guess you can still do that if nobody else knows your keyword. Unfortunately, no one's searching for this. These days, one piece of holistically created content can be returned for any number of different searches. So I'm going to use this page as an example. Houselogic.com. It's a domain owned by Realtor, so they have a lot of good links. It's basically an information site. They created a guide to hardwood floor finishes, and it's listed for hardwood floor finishes, wood floor finish, how to finish a hardwood floor, and wood floor finishing. It's a very nice, nicely written article. The site is nicely architected, and the domain has value. It has a nice big image at the top. It has over 1,000 words. Great meta tags and JSON LD markup. The site is very fast. It's responsive, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I'll get into. So for hardwood floor finishes, it ranks number one, besides the ads that come up. If you look at this page, all of the results are information about hardwood floor finishes. So you have this great article we're looking at. We have a Hardwood Floors magazine article, association, woodfloors.org information, a manufacturer that lists products, images about hardwood floor finishes, and then over to the side it has some shopping information. So I surmise that this search result is primarily informational. There's three basic types of searches: navigational, This is where I want to go somewhere, so people will actually search for Google if they want to go to Google or Facebook or wherever. Informational and transactional. Information is I want to learn or I want to find out. Transactional is I actually want to do something. So this one, mostly informational with a little transactional. And then we have similar results for wood floor finish, but for some reason on this search, while we're still number one, Google put a little bit more prominence on the shop. So for some reason, wood floor finish sells more than hardwood floor finish. Semantics to us, but something triggers some, a different result in the search engine. So here's where I was doing my research for this presentation and kind of blown away that I'm searching for how to finish a wood floor. It's not a guide that I'm looking for. I'm searching for information on how to do this. So you have an information box. It actually is from the same domain, but it's 7th in the result, right over here. The first few, actually the first 4 results are how-to links. How to finish a hardwood floor, exactly what I was looking for. Then they throw in 2 videos, because videos are also great for informational results. So the top 6 are all how-tos. 7th is refinishing your hardwood floors yourself, and then the 8th result is our page. It's an informational search. The knowledge box that they prominently displayed first is the 7th result on the page. To me, that's good semantic markup that this site is using, that Google can pull out information from this page. But our page is not directly related to the search. It's indirectly related. But Google feels that this page is so good that it's kind of like secondary or tertiary information to go along with my knowledge seeking. And then I search for hardwood floor finishing. This is more of an act, treated more as a transaction. I get a hardwood floor finisher's local business box near me. I get Yelp business listings and Home Advisor business listings, so I get aggregators that do the same thing as that Google Map box did. There's some contractor websites in there of contractors near me while I was searching that. I didn't put in Chicago, they just know I'm in Chicago. And the page is still listed. So it's good information to know for this whole topic. I wanted to show another example here about how semantic Google is. Every once in a while, I like to throw a little log on the fire, kick back and chill out. So I was searching for little bug fireplace. Well, I get the result, Lil Bug Magical Yule Log Video. I search for little instead of lil, and I search for fireplace. Nowhere on that YouTube page where that video exists does it say little or does it say fireplace. But Google knows exactly what I was looking for, which is pretty great, because then we can watch Lil Bub, chill out. So to wrap up the examples here, if I can get back, Google is semantic. It understands synonyms, pluralities, misspellings, and even more English grammar things that I don't know about. And it's focused on user intent. How I formulated those words to search brought me different results. So Google's trying to interpret what I am looking for, and they are trying to give me the results that's most appropriate. So let's talk about scale. On May 24th, a month and a day ago, Google admitted in an interview that they have trillions of searches per year. Trillions. So that's at least 2 trillion, right? So everybody went nuts and started breaking it down. 2 trillion searches per year, at least. 167 billion searches per month, 5.5 per day. 228 million searches per hour, and 3.8 million searches per minute on Google. Forgot. 63,000 searches per second, at least. One of the prominent SEOs in the world, Rand Fishkin, who runs Moz.com, did some analysis on Google, like they do analysis on every site you can do. Based on their findings, they put it closer to 5.48 billion, which would put it actually closer to 3 trillion searches per year. Over half of those searches happened on smartphones. Over half happened on phones. Nearly 1/3 of all mobile searches are related to location. So that's transactional searches. Could be informational around the area, but I would say primarily transactional. And then location-related mobile searches are growing 50% faster than mobile searches. And this is from Google Analytics. Over half of all web traffic that Google Analytics sites are on is now mobile. It's pretty good, crazy things. All right, so let's get into what the search engine ranking factors are. These are on and off-site items that search engine use to evaluate a web property's placement in the search results for a certain query. It took me a long time to write that sentence. Each search engine has their own algorithm. Google is obviously the most important. Probably Facebook is the second one. Facebook prefers their own properties, so we primarily concentrate on Google. If we do good things for Google, we'll get good things in Bing usually. On occasion, Google will publish these ranking factors and promote it. Everybody here remember Mobilegeddon and page speed? If Google Webmaster Central comes out with, hey, here's what we're paying attention to, here's a tool to check it out, 3 months later, they're going to have a big algorithm switch that really concentrates around those things. So pay attention to those factors. And then the latest thing that's happened, probably since the fall, is that the ranking factors, the order that this algorithm works in, you may be having your ranking factors different for every single search term that's out there. In an interview a couple months ago, one of the primary Google search employees stated that the top 3 ranking factors are links, content, and rank brain. Links are exactly what you expect it to be. Probably what Google was founded on, the page rank idea, where it's the quality of links, not spammy sites. If CNN sends you a link, you're going to get great, juice out of that. Your keywords in your links, and then the number of links. Content. Content has evolved to quality writing. There are plenty of ways that you can judge the level of your writing quality. More words the better. Your words to code ratio. If you're doing small snippets of content, 300 words is kind of the minimum. Usually, when you're talking about topics that are highly sought after, you're looking at like 1,000 words on the page. Keyword research. So, even though the keywords are becoming less of a factor, the keyword research world is getting more complex because you need to search for all of these different factors, all of these different topics, all of these different semantics, rather than just each specific keyword you want to rank for. Freshness. New content is better than old content. Images, videos, and news related to the vertical industry that you're in or the topic that you're talking about. And then, as the world becomes more mobile and more transactional, does the content answer questions? So Google people are asking Google questions, does your content answer it? That might be a slight shift in the way that people write contents if they're writing content specifically to answer questions that people are searching for in Google. And then RankBrain. What is RankBrain? RankBrain is Google's new AI robot that's going to come and kill us all. Is going to come and save the searches for the rest of us. It's a machine learning artificial intelligence system. If RankBrain sees a word or phrase it isn't familiar with, the machine can make a guess as to what words or phrases might have similar meaning and filter the results accordingly, make it more effective at handling never before seen search queries. So not only is it smart, it's always learning. I've included some links here, some really good in-depth articles. RankBrain was kind of announced in September, October last year, so it is a new thing that people are trying to figure out because Google won't let us know anything about it, of course. So check out the links if you're interested, and follow these sites, people who monitor and decipher the search engine ranking factors. Search Engine Land is a really good one. Search Metrics, who's one of my clients, they monitor it and sell a product just like Moz does. And then there's a site, Backlinko. It's kind of like, I think they're a service company also, that they have a big page of all 200 ranking factors. Whether they are still functional or not is a question. So Search Metrics every year comes out with a really great way to decipher this information. Last year they came out with their ranking factors in the form of a card deck. They broke it into 52 different things. Maybe there's a joker in there. They break it into these categories. Content, user experience, technical, backlinks, social, and social. Search Engine Land also broke it into a nice, easy to read, easy to comprehend system, the periodic table of SEO factors. They broke it into two categories, on-site and off-site. On-site is content, architecture, HTML. Off-site is trust, links, personal, and social. Moz also comes out with reports. Every 2 years, they survey their experts, and then they also do their own searches and studies. It's pretty stiff. They don't have any cute little infographic to share, but it's really good information if you want to dig in. And then Backlinko, here's a link to that. 200 search engine ranking factors. Some are proven, some are controversial, others are SEO nerd speculation. So, I touched on that. I want to touch on content a little, and then we'll get back into each of the ranking factors and how we can apply it to Drupal. So, does everybody here know what content strategy is? No? Okay. Content strategy is a great website, usability.gov. It talks about planning your content for your content side and for your user side. You're going to have content-oriented components in your content strategy plan, and then you're going to have workflow issues, basically people-oriented components. It's important to talk about content strategy with your client because, what are we trying to rank for? And as web developers, we can create systems for them to create content, to put content on the internet, but we need to know what their goals are. So, one of the pillars of content strategy is to identify goals and substance. Focus on what the content is required to successfully execute your core strategy, the goal of the client. Then you need to, once you have that content strategy, you need to determine how you're going to prioritize it and organize it. So who are the users that the client wants to visit the website? Very important. Is it people that you want to buy from you? Is it people that like Instagram photos? You need to know who is the target user. What content is the client, your content creator, going to be able to create and publish? Don't have them put out this blog every week if they just can't create that content, they can't stick to that schedule. And then while this discovery is happening, you can figure out who your client's competitors are and see what they're doing. What content are they creating? What content are they ranking for? What search terms are they ranking for? And that can guide your content strategy also. So SEOs for years have used the Google AdWords keyword planner. So it's a way to buy ads on the internet. Everybody familiar with this? You put in your search terms and they tell you how many times people have searched for it. Unfortunately, it's completely inaccurate now because Google is not returning search results for specific keywords. So that ad section at the top has kind of separated from the organic listings. And instead, pay products have come about. So Search Metrics Essentials and Moz's Pro Keyword Explorer.
Google keyword tool discontinued.
I don't think if you sign in, it's still there. Yeah. But they're paid solutions for finding out which words you can rank for, which words your clients rank for. Basically, these sites scrape Google every day in every location for every kind of keyword, or do it, if they don't have it done already, they do it for you at your request. Another great tool for content creators is Readability Score. I think it's readabilityscore.com. You can put in your content and actually get ranked on how good your content is. There's also the Flesh Score, I think it's called, where you can see the reading level of your content. Okay, so we've had this meeting with our client. We've talked about their content goals and what they can create. We can determine structure, and what we do in Drupal, make content types and entities, plan out the sitemap and the menu structure, plan out the functionality in the views and how that's going to affect the site. Once we have all that done, we can use entity reference fields to tie all the content pieces together. So if I have image that I want to have as a content type and a video that I want to have as a content type, and I want to put them all on an article or a note page, I can use entity reference types to bring them all together, entity reference fields to bring them all together. Inline entity form is a great module to be used on top of reference fields. This allows you to add a new entity that I'm adding on or select an existing. So you can have all your content creation screens for your users on one page. Paragraphs, some of you I see were in the paragraphs session in here before. It's a great way to build reorderable entities. So I could use an entity reference field and make an image or a video paragraph and then put it in after a body, or my client can move it around, and you can make really great long pieces of topic-centered content using paragraphs. And then the token module, because I have all these fields and structured data, I can use the token module to take the information of these entities and add them to the meta tag module fields and JSON LD fields, which is the new meta tag. So I'm going to get to that in a minute. So together, let's celebrate everyone's achievements. We get deep into the Drupal practices here. So I'm using the search engine land, the element chart there that they had, and I'm going to answer their questions as we go down. So this is content. Is the site easily crawlable? Yeah, we hope so. Every site we make, we want it to be easily crawlable. If a Google spider hits the home page, they follow the links on the page. So is your menu, well thought out? Does it follow the structure of the site? You have breadcrumbs on the site. Breadcrumbs also are really followable. And if they're marked up with schema.org markup, they have even extra value. Google can figure out what they are more so than if they're just regular links on the page. And then everybody should use the XML sitemap module. Hopefully it'll be ready for Drupal 8 soon. Until then, there's a sitemap module, which is not as feature-rich, but works. And then friendly URLs from the Path Auto module. So, the URL structure of a site still denotes the hierarchy of the site. So if you have domain/articles/article title, Google will infer that this is an article content type, and all articles are similar. Next one, no duplicate content. Pretty easy to do, right? Redirect module for Drupal is awesome. For Drupal 6 and a little bit of Drupal 7 stuff, there's the global redirect module. Meta tag module, you want to set your canonical URL, which is the primary domain of this content. And one thing, if you are using secondary entities, you want to make sure that they don't show up in the sitemap or the search engine. If you're using an image that you only want to have on an article page, don't let that rank in there too. Does the site work on mobile? Hopefully everybody's building responsive sites lately. Building a responsive site doesn't mean that it is necessarily going to pass Google's test. So Google made a lovely mobile-friendly test, and if you look in the search engines, sometimes they used to have it, maybe they got rid of it, it'll say mobile-friendly. It will, it has a higher ranking factor if you're searching on your phone, for half of those searches that Google has. So make sure you pass the mobile-friendly test, and don't just do the homepage. Do homepage, content page, taxonomy page. Try a few different variations of your site. Does the site load quickly? This is performance, now that we talk about it. There's so many different types of caching in Drupal. If you're not devs, your dev team will definitely have strong opinions about how to cache, whether you use CDN like Cloudflare, or if you're using Varnish or Boost or Views Cache Bully and Panels Cache. There's so many different ways to do it. CDN is a content delivery network. This takes your site and actually caches it off your server and spreads it around different computers throughout the world. So somebody in San Francisco will get it served from a California server, somebody in Japan will get it served from a Japanese server. Good for content you can cache. Responsive images. Images are most of the web pages that we visit these days. Use responsive images, which is pretty great to do in Drupal 7 and Drupal 8. I think it's in core. And or use the smallest image sizes you can using the Drupal image presets. You can also do some things using the Image Magic module or Image API module to switch the GD processing library to Image Magic library, where you can do things like progressive JPEGs, which help give the perceived value that the site is faster. A progressive JPEG will load gradually, while as a full image will just wait until it completely loads and then show up. So giving a user a little bit at a time is sometimes better than waiting for a big, gigantic image to load. Does the site contain keywords in the URL? This has kind of always been a factor. Use the Path Auto module to set your friendly URLs, set the patterns, or allow the users to override them. Is the site secure? HTTPS, using an SSL, is a major ranking factor and will be from here on out. So if you're launching new websites for clients or redesigning sites for clients, pretty much all websites from here on out should be secure. No-brainer, but keep core and all modules up to date. Old code is dangerous code, especially when there's awesome people who fix it all the time for us. Limit server access and keep the server up to date if you're using your own managed server. So if you're using like a Rackspace Cloud or a DigitalOcean server, it's your responsibility to keep the server updated also in addition to Drupal. Last year, year before, there was Heartbleed and open SSL vulnerabilities. There was just as many open source vulnerabilities on server level software than there are on WordPress and Drupal and our CMSs. And then require strong passwords. This is a cool module that lets you set rules on requiring strong passwords. How's that? I don't know if you've ever looked at your error log on your site and seen, just the dictionary attacks that happen, or the URLs people, try to I don't have PHP myadmin on my server. Why is people hitting that URL? And it's just automated bots can do a lot of things in the middle of the night from foreign lands. Does the page title contain keywords? It does if you properly set up your meta tag module to write the HTML title. Does the meta description describe the pages? So this is an interesting one. Drupal and WordPress both have the idea of summary or excerpts, where whatever's in the body field, it'll just get truncated after 155 or 300 characters or whatever you have set. But that doesn't usually describe what the page is. So as part of my client's content strategy, I always try to throw in a teaser field in the Add Node screen where we're describing what this content is. It's a really great way to present the content in a different way. So you're writing 1,000 words, about wood floor finishes, hardwood floor finishes. This is your opportunity to write about the guide of the hardwood floor finish guide. Why are you an expert? Why are you writing this? What information is contained inside? You can do a lot of things, and you present this small field to your content creators, then you can use a token to set in the meta tag module. They don't need to worry about setting meta tag modules and erasing tokens and breaking something like that. The same goes for a featured image field. There's been a lot of studies on Facebook that images or links shared that have images are like 100 million, 1,000 times better than links shared without it. You'll get no clicks for it. So every piece of content that you create for the internet basically should have a featured image field. You can see it at the top. You can use it in your page, or you cannot. But you can use this to set the meta tag OG, Open Graph image, and you can use it to set the Twitter card image also. Okay, and I mentioned this a couple times throughout. Does the site use structured data? So structured data used to be RSS feeds and XML, which is what the sitemap is. They're definitely evolving. So there's something called schema.org, where using divs and spans, which is not terribly semantic, but you can define through these attributes, item scope, item type, item prop, different type of structure inside your data. So this example right here, it's a schema.org. The item type links back to schema.org. So if you look at schema.org, they have hundreds of different schemas where you're defining what this piece of content is. So this example is a broadcast service, it's a TV station. So they have name, display name, or broadcast display name, what format the video's in, what time zone it's in, and what affiliate they're of. And then the affiliate is ABC. So you see here they have basically another nested schema inside of it. So I guess I would assume you could have 2 affiliates or 3 affiliates. I'd have to check out the schema. This is great to do in your template files. If you have structured data coming out of your content types, find out what kind of markup, what kind of schema applies to the content you're doing. So if you're doing movies, books, actors, anything that is sold in stores, basically, there's going to be a schema for it. A little bit of the hard part, and this is kind of like what SEO companies do when they come in after you built the site, is they will go into the contents and put schema markup inside of the content also. So if I have an About Us page, I can go in and wrap corporation schema information around just things that are in a body field. People at the organization, it's really common that you just come in. You don't want to build a content type for the 4 CEOs that are going to be on the About Us page, but you can just go in and use HTML like this to tweak those pages out. The next level of structured data is JSON LD. I talked about this before, but this is JavaScript object notation for linked data. JSON LD came about because not every piece of content on the internet has meta tags anymore. As we move to more APIs and services in Drupal, apps that are appearing in deep searches on the internet, you don't have meta tags on those, but you can define the same context, the same schema.org here, broadcast service, name, affiliate, time zone, video format. You can define the same thing that you were doing in the meta tags in JSON. One way I've been playing around doing this on Drupal is to create a block or a content pane, a view pane, which has a contextual filter to the node you're on, and stick that in the page as such. This is going to be more and more important to people that are doing enterprise stuff and doing APIs and all that kind of good stuff. I think this is the last one, proper use of headers, and it's exactly what you wanted to know or what you knew. Proper ordered use of H1s, H2s, and H3s. So no matter what your designer says, the H1 needs to be first and then H2s and H3s, and that's a good accessibility rule to properly define the page, even though you can style them however you want. One thing I've done on I think every site I've ever built in Drupal is remove the H1 from CK Editor or the WYSIWYG. It's defined in the template or the entity view mode, get it out of there. If you using blocks, getting blocks taking the H3 out of the blocks is usually good to do also. Chances are those sidebar blocks that you use are not the most prominent keyword things on the site, and they're just reused over and over and over again. You don't want to give those more semantic value than they're worth. Hey, look at that, I just said that. All right, and last but not least, here's a bunch of awesome tools that you guys can use. This link, Google defines best practices for the web. They do a lot of defining of what they're looking for in an awesome website. It's really good to read and keep up to date. Google also has a structured data testing tool. This is not the easiest thing to use, but you can do one of two things. You can allow it to scrape your website, or you can put your structured data in there. So you can put your HTML in there. I think you can put your JSON LD in there, and it can run basically just a test on it. You can put in content and have it export in the Google Structured Data Markup Helper. You can put in your structure or your content, and it will output the structure of how you should do this markup. So that's, you're messing around and like creating content or starting to architect a site, it's good to play around with that and see what the output of your code for your site should look like. Google Page Speed Insights. Is your site fast enough? If you use Google Analytics, there's really no way to get 100, but you can get up in the 90s with how fast you can make your site, and it'll give you tips on what is slowing down your site. The Google Mobile Friendly test that I shared earlier, definitely check it out with multiple pages on your site. If you're doing emails for clients, Google also has an email markup helper, so you can use schema.org markup in your emails, and then it does awesome things in Google Apps and Android that says, hey, you're going on a trip to Minnesota this week, here's 3 things that are in there, or they know that your flight is at 4 o'clock tomorrow because of the markup that we as clients can put in there, we as web developers. Google Search Console is the new name for the old Google Webmaster tools, and if you haven't looked at it in a while, it does a lot of things. You can view and then fix, of course, crawl errors. You can fetch as Google to see what they're seeing. Test your robots.txt to make sure it's working. Submit your sitemap or submit URLs individually. And then if you're doing a lot of crazy URL stuff, you can remove or configure URL parameters to tell Google to ignore them or include them if need be. And then, last but not least, these are some great blogs to follow and stay up to date. The world of search changes a lot. Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal are kind of like online magazines dedicated to reporting on the searches. Search Metrics and Moz are product, they're trying to sell software as a service so they stay up to date with it and share knowledge. And then Google Webmasters blog, I think it's a blog spot, they put out information about what they're doing and what we should be paying attention to, so it's really good to follow that. And that's it. I have some stickers for mid-camp up here and my Lego Uncle Jim and some information about my company if you want. Come up, say hi. Anybody have any questions they want to ask? I know I covered a lot of stuff.
How long will you keep this on your site?
Forever and ever, because I want to rank for holistic SEO and Drupal and be found in the search engines.
Okay, keep going.
Super specific question.
Okay.
So according to the HTML5 spec, if you have nested section elements, then you can restart your header numbering.
Of course.
Does that play out as well as just obeying H1 to H2 regardless of section?
I think you would have to do tests for your specific topic application. So one thing that's coming out more and more is one of those deep rank brain articles, and I think it's more on the speculation side, but sites that are in a similar industry or similar vertical that look the same kind of rank the same. So if you're doing Nike, a sneaker company, you want to have your website similar structure to Nike, the industry leaders. If you were to come out and try to rank with a website that was so cutting edge and parallax and all this stuff, and none of the other people, for a law firm, you probably would be treated as, an anomaly. They may look at it differently. I've done it. I've had it rank, but not on anything that was of, super value. So I think it would depend on who the competitors are. Anybody's doing that. What's the topics? Do each one of those sections want to rank well? So is it a single page website kind of thing?
Well, what I mean is, so within this, on a single page, like any given page on the site.
Sure.
Just for ease of let's take, for example, a view in Drupal. You could just standardize article title, page title as an H1 everywhere, whether it's in a view or not. So if it's a view, the title of the view is going to be the H1, right? Topic, SEO. So that's your H1. Then each article title underneath that is also an H1, but it's within a nested section element in the markup. So according to the HTML5 spec, once you add a new section, it's like you hit the reset button on the header levels.
Sure.
And it will treat it functionally as an H2 underneath an H1. I'm just wondering in practice, like that's what they say the spec is, but in practice, does that actually?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're devaluing the original H1 on the page for that. But yeah, to know for sure, you'd have to check, and there's no yes or no answer. It could be different for each different site that you check.
Thank you.
Not a specific question. Why don't we talk about this more in the Drupal community?
We talk about building Drupal a lot in the Drupal community. We're not that close to the content side. Yeah, it's.
For most of our clients, like this is kind of the point.
Right.
This is kind of the result we
Yeah.
want.
And it is a huge business model of companies that offer our clients SEO services, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I mean it's getting to be like rocket science. The guys that buy keyword ads in Chicago used to be day traders. Now they're running their own proprietary software that helps them pick the right keywords at the right time of day, to maximize the search engine goal. I mean, it falls into, I think that's why I tried to make it, probably 60-40 of here's what it is, and here's 40% about how we can put it on Drupal. But really, here's what it is, and here's how we can do it in anything. Like all of this stuff I could do with WordPress, or we could do it with static sites or Ruby sites or however. It's how we want to implement it.
So given that the algorithms change constantly, how timeless are you? How timeless would you project your specific Drupal recommendations to be? Easily crawlable, no duplicate content. Those have been things that have been true for a long time.
Yeah.
Site works on mobile and so on. Page title containing keywords, meta descriptions describe the pages.
So, I mean, these are the best practices. So, like, the idea of holistic SEO is, here's what we can do that is a best practice for our clients going forward. So there are 200 ranking factors, and each is going to get different weight. If we do as many of those ranking factors as we can, we're doing the best thing we can do for our clients. SEO tricks used to be, let's take our competitor's copy and put it through Google Translate into Spanish, and then Spanish to Italian, and then Italian back into English, and then we'll put it on the WordPress site and post links back to our site. I got links to my site, this is great. Links is the #1 ranking factor. But Google found that out. They knew that these garbage links, these WordPress sites that got spun up, by the thousands using a multi-dev install, doing some kind of generated content, was bad. So if we do these things, we're doing the best thing we can do for our clients while we build our websites. But we also need to advise them, like you had talked to me yesterday about a law website that we found out was on the internet. It was in Google, but it wasn't ranking. Lots of other websites were ranking. So I was thinking about that last night. #1 ranking factor is links. That brand new website has no links to it. So all of those websites on the first 4 pages that link to them that were all like lawyerlistingwebsites.com, they need to go and get those websites to link to them.
Link back then. Sometimes you have to pay.
A lot of times you have to pay for links, and
It costs money to end up #1 on Google.
it costs money to end up #1 on Google. I think that's the new title for this. Anyone else?
Is the age of your domain still a factor for ranking?
The age of your domain and is still a factor, and how long it's registered for. So the older the domain, the more value it has, or the more trust it has, I think was in the search engine land. They called it trust. So how long you've had it registered, or how long it has been registered, and then how long it's registered for. So, you know, if it's going to expire in a month, you know, it's less trustworthy than if it's going to expire in 4 years.
So it's a good practice to set your renewal frequency to 5 years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I'm, you know, if I'm CNN or Amazon.com, I'm going to register that every minute, every day. I'm going to renew that. So, you know, I'll make sure that I don't lose that. I don't go away.
Also, it's, even though it's not a good practice for accessibility, it's still a good practice to put in keywords in your meta tags, and your alt tags, all images.
Yeah, it is the best thing to do for accessibility. And yeah, we didn't really talk about ranking for images.google.com, but that is also a great way to rank for there. So we have a wedding couture company where they make wedding dresses, and Google Images is, you know, probably they get 5 to 7% of their traffic every month from, you know, those image links. So it's good to be able to rank for those too.
It seems like Google sometimes tries to change behaviors with the rank stuff, like a mobile optimized sites. Is there any indication they're going to do that for accessibility? Like, is that going to be a ranking factor of how accessible your website is for people with disabilities?
I would say it is the combination of all the accessibility are different ranking factors. You know, so the proper H1s, readability, you know, probably alt tags is in there somewhere. I don't think they make a public thing because they don't have a tool, you know, yet for it. But technically, it's the law, right? We need to have an accessible website too. You know, so they should have that in their ranking factors. But I don't think it's a set accessibility. I think it's a combination of all those things that make up accessibility. So like, good accessibility is good holistic SEO.
There are some differences of opinion about, in regards to images, and it may just be a situation where there is no one right answer, but I had been working with an SEO and marketing firm that advised us to use descriptive alt tags for screen readers in particular, but then to use the title tag an organic sort of way to include some keywords. But then I was talking to Helena, who did the accessibility presentation, and she said, nope. She said, don't even use title tags because the screen reader is going to read the same thing twice, and it's, you know, there's no value in a title tag anymore. They're really just the same thing. So that may be a difference in perspective between accessibility and SEO. It may be something that's continuing to evolve. Being naturally lazy, I'm going to just skip title tags and just do alt tags. But, you know, what's your opinion on that?
So a title tag on an image is for the hover state on an image, and with 50% of my traffic on the internet not being able to hover on anything, I think that's probably going to go away and be worthless
I think the point Helena was making wasn't not to use the title, it was that, and this is I work a lot with accessibility and stuff, is that when you're using your search engine keywords, think about that person who's not sighted, who's listening to it, and make sure that you're not just stuffing keywords into an alt tag, that it actually is descriptive of the image.
Yeah.
And she and I were talking offline, and that was where she said, don't even bother.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but I think the other point you were making too is it's not about stuffing keywords in there, it doesn't have keywords in there, but still make that as good description. You have to sit and listen to it.
Yeah.
Actually shut it off and listen to it, and if it annoys you.
Yeah, so and don't forget that, you know, Google has and we have free readability testers. You know, we have robots that can tell us if this is good writing or not. You know, it's pretty creepy. So rather than messing with the title tag, I would do more semantic markup of doing fake caption, I think is the new HTML5 tag. Fake caption?
Sorry.
Oh!
I don't know that section. There is a caption.
There's a caption element, a fake caption or something like that, where you can put markup in, and Google would have more semantic knowledge about that copy on the page goes with this image, and writing it in a good way would benefit everybody. Jim?
Is the number of backlinks and the Google page rank still a factor for organic
Yes.
search rank?
Yes, it's one of the factors. So, when I first started, it was the only factor, right? The page rank, which was, some kind of conglomeration of the terms, specific terms, and the links that you got, and the keywords in the links. It is, it's the number one factor still, according to the Google interview that I saw a month ago.
Backlinks as well?
Backlinks, links to your content from respectable people.
No follow and do follow, either one?
I don't think the follows worked out. I think the SEOs gained that too much immediately. Definitely no follow links to bad sites if you're linking to bad sites. If you write about bad things, definitely no follow bad links.
Do you think there's a correlation between ranking and advertising with Google?
They say no.
Yeah, I know you do.
They say no, but how many non-web developers click on the first result that Google gives them? So to our clients, I would say, yes, if you want to rank number one in Google, you have to pay. Yeah. Even in my example where that floor finish guide ranked number one, at best it was number 3 on the page. But I don't think it's a ranking factor. And they say so. Yeah. But there's plenty of speculation that it is. With that, brands get preferential treatment in Google because people want brands. Our society has an affinity to brands rather than local companies for some reason. So, if I'm going to search for sneakers, Nike's going to come up first. And that was kind of a revolution, 5 or 6 years when it happens that these brands get preferential treatment. Come on, I'm a little guy. Why is Nike getting preferential treatment, over me, my awesome sneaker company? But it's not for me. It's not for the content creators. It's actually for the users. The users want Nike.
Right.
Do you know anyone that's just like a good collective of BS and myth SEO advice? Like, so you just down the line.
That backlinko, the 200 ranking factors that I put in there was okay. Search engine land is probably the best. Search engine land, search engine journal. Those two are keeping tabs on it. When they come out with that report every year, the search engine ranking factors, that is at least like the top of the heap. You guys figure to say, but it's all speculation. I guess if Matt Cutts came in on a video once from Google and said no, then I think that's the kind of information that's on that backlinko page. This is definitely not a factor. Font size, something, but.
The number of pluses on the plus side are different, but
Right.
no side.
Yeah. Check out that backlinko page.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, ask me any questions later in the hallway if you want. Thanks all for coming.